Hello and welcome to Carmen Miller's Talk of the Town Carolinas. I'm your host, Patti Mercer, here with our York County Councilman, Michael Johnson, representing District 1. Welcome to Talk of the Town.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, we love to get an update on what's happening in York County, and I think, first of all, I'd like to say congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to be reelected.
Yes, it is.
Always a good feeling to know that the people believe what you're doing and want to have you stick around for a little longer.
Always. And along with being reelected, you are the first to really serve 4 years because the staggered terms passed.
The staggered terms did pass. What we did was put a referendum on the ballot last year. The top 4 vote getters would go to a 4-year term. The bottom 3 would stay on a 2, and then they would begin a 4-year term in 2018. I, along with Britt Blackwell, Allison Love, and Christy Cox, all got 4-year terms. So I'm excited to serve through 2020, hopefully be able to get a little more done.
Well, tell us why you felt it was a good idea to extend the terms to 4 years versus 2 years.
I'll tell you, number one issue was just the ability to control growth and the ability to economic development. When you start an economic development project, sometimes that can take 2, 3, 4 years from the day you begin talking about it to the day it happens. One of the things I noticed when I went on the council in 2012 was I was the 5th councilman since 2004 from District 1. One of the reasons we had inconsistent growth and the ability to control it was you had 5 different people sitting in that seat.
As we have experienced growth in York County, a lot of people are concerned that there's too much residential growth happening too fast. What do you think about that?
I will say there is too much residential growth from a tax standpoint. What we have shown, we've done a recent study that shows we're about 60% of the tax base comes from residential housing. 40% comes from commercial and industrial. That is a mix that leads to disaster long term.
Yes, now explain to us why residential cost our county more.
Sure, in York County, a residential home costs, for every dollar that it pays in taxes, it costs the York County government about $1.46
because?
To provide services. Well, that's fire, police, water, sewer infrastructure, all the things that it requires for us to do it. Well, education is actually not a part of that, and that's the part. York County we don't even factor in the education costs. So if you take in education, certainly the school board has another number that they can show you that it costs them. But when you take a commercial property, it costs about 41 cents for every dollar they contribute. So if you think about it, what you need is about 60% commercial industrial to 40% residential so that you can broaden the tax base and keep taxes low and provide all the services. Eventually what happens if you get into that 60, 65, potentially 70% residential, it gets out of control and you can't raise taxes enough, and then when you do raise the taxes you squeeze out the commercial, which makes the situation even worse. And so we've got to reverse that trend, and luckily if you've driven around Fort Mill, you're beginning to see commercial growth all over the place, and that's exciting. You
bring out a very important perspective in the fact that there's York County, which is responsible for the unincorporated areas. Then we have municipalities in Fort Mill and municipalities in Tega that are independently making their planning decisions and preparing education. So how would you say the communication between all 3 is working today?
There are days that it's better than others.
Just like in real world.
Just like in real life, talking with your spouse, there are days that the communication works better. I think we're doing better. I think we're doing better at a staff level.
So in terms of upcoming road projects, what can we look for?
I think in the spring, the very first thing you're going to see is we're going to finish Gold Hill and 160.
That's been a big one.
That is. We're going to put the final blacktop.
Nice.
We're also going to put some concrete medians in. Right now, a lot of people are saying, well, how can you turn left out of some of these areas? You won't be able to turn left in the spring once it's done. There will be concrete medians that will stop. That'll be right in, right out only. We'll finish that up. You'll see Hubert Parkway be opened, which will be finally, kind of one of those, yes, let's get that done. That's going to happen in the spring, and then we begin kind of this long push toward expanding 21 between from Highway 51 down to Springfield Parkway. That'll happen and open sometime in 2019, and you'll see Gold Hill at I-77, Carowinds at 77, 160 at 77, Sutton Road, and Celanese all are on the projected, and those will open between 22 and 2025.
Wow. So in addition to building new roads, widening existing roads, also maintaining the quality of roads that are used every day now.
You know, that's probably one of the biggest things I think we have a chance to do. In this November, we're going to pass a brand new Pennies for Progress. Hopefully the people will get out and do it.
Yeah.
And one of the things we're looking at is let's put 25-30% of that towards fixing our roads. Not building new roads, not widening roads, but actually going back and fixing roads. If we did that, you're talking somewhere around $65-70 million that could be pumped into our local roads. Now, in all honesty, as a council person, I'm torn when I say I'm going to do that, because honestly, the state of South Carolina should be doing this, and they're not. We have to fix our roads. It's not enough to build you a new road. We have to maintain the roads we have. I'd like to see about 30% go, and then we can do some large projects, hopefully. You know, the widening of 21, say between 160 and Springfield Parkway. Go ahead and let's expand that. Let's look at Dobie's Bridge. Let's look at Pleasant Road or Sutton Road to expand those areas.
When we talk about millions of dollars, I just have to go back to that $110 million referendum that was passed in York County. Tell us where we are with, utilizing the funds there to make our county better.
The county just began the process of moving forward on the Moss Justice Center, which is exciting. You know, the Moss Justice Center was built in the 90s, and you think about when it was built in the 90s, they said this building we won't ever need another building, and here we are.
Never say never.
And then, in around 2008, people began to go, wow, this is no longer working for us. We're going to reshape that building, have more in-out controlled entrances, but create parking decks, more courtrooms. I'm excited about that. We're going to build a family courthouse in Rock Hill at the Heckle site. We're going to build a massive structure there to handle all of our family court needs. New magistrate court offices in both Clover and here in Fort Mill. There's a lot going on. Recycling center. York County makes money on recycling. It is exciting. It is a profitable business, and the goal is to modernize it and allow it to become even more profitable.
Yes, and when you talk about safety, security with the Moss Justice Center, this is where we all go when our name comes up to serve jury duty.
Certainly, if you are drawn for a criminal matter, you go to the Moss Justice. Civil matters go. Well, right now, civil matters go to the Moss Justice as well, but very soon we'll open the brand new the old courthouse, the brand new renovated courthouse in downtown York. I tell you, one of the most exciting things I think is going to happen over the next 2 to 4 years, and it's going to take a little while, is the council has hired 2 new consultants to come in and give us advice on reshaping our fire departments in York County. We're trying to uniform our purchasing within the fire departments. Right now, what you have is you have these fire boards. They have total autonomy over their fire system, and there are 17 of them in York County. Well, if number 1 doesn't want to talk to number 5 and they don't want to have the same radios, we've struggled to make them do this. And so we need to get some control so that the number 1 issue, and everyone agrees, the chiefs agree, the volunteers agree, the paid people, and it's about saving lives and saving property. And so it's not going to be about turf wars. We're going to fix this, and we're going to make this system the jewel in the York County crown.
I love it. I love it. And what about other upcoming goals for the county?
Roads, and growth. And
that's good. That's encouraging.
It is.
Like that.
A lot of people talk about growth. Oh, growth has been huge in Fort Mill. Well, it's just as equally as large in Lake Wiley, the Clover area, and it's growing around the lake. And we're beginning to see some of that around the Rock Hill area, especially the southern parts of Rock Hill. They're beginning to pick up some of their growth. So we have to get very serious about that. The Dave Lyle, will we ever build a Dave Lyle extension? What will that look like? Does Newlands build that huge 2,000 house community that they want? And how do you do that and not have urban sprawl and destroy everything that we've worked for? I think those are the questions that we're going to have to tackle, and also really focus on this balanced commercial residential growth and making sure that tax system doesn't get out of whack, and that from an infrastructure standpoint, we are where we want to be.
I think that is well said. Quality of life, and it also reminds all of us that our voice matters. So it's important to reach out to our local representatives and share from everyone's individual perspective what is in the best interest. So tell me about your monthly breakfast meeting.
About a year and a half ago, I decided to start having a monthly breakfast meeting so that constituents, if they had questions, I get anywhere between 50 to 100 emails in a week asking me various questions, telling me potholes here, this problem, that problem. So I wanted to start having a meeting so that people could come. And so once a month on a Friday, between 8 and 9 in the morning, we pick a local restaurant. We pick local restaurants as opposed to chains because I'm trying to help the local economy and someone who has a small business. And we sit around for an hour and we talk. We did it the other day at Tega Deli and had about 15 people.
We know that's a favorite.
It is a favorite. And kind of rotate between there, maybe the Peach Stand, try to get up somewhere near Regent Park every once in a while. It's a little harder in that area. But, in fact, this month I also do a newsletter. About 3,000 people get an email update from me every month. And this month I asked, would you rather do it on a day other than Friday? Would you rather come in or an evening and amazingly enough, about 51% of all the people want to do it on Thursdays now. And so we're going to do one on a Thursday morning and see how many we can get to come. So.
Well, that's it for this edition of Carmen Miller's Talk of the Town Carolinas. If you'd like to see more beautiful homes in our area, or perhaps you're thinking about moving here, simply go to homesfortmill.com. And to find out more about York County, where do you advise that we go?
Well, you can always like me on Facebook, Councilman Michael Johnson, or send me an email at michael@ycdistrict1.com, and I'll put you on the newsletter list.
Fantastic. Until next time, this is Patti Mercer.
Michael Johnson.
Bye-bye.